Hi guys, my name is Naya Kane. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Exclusively Kane. As you guys can tell from the title, we are going to be talking about intense, painful menstrual periods, as well as dysmenorrhea, endometriosis, and things of that sort. All right, girls. Before we start, we're gonna do just a quick shout out on my GLAM, my accessories. Bam. And my outfit is going to come from validgirls.com. That's VALID girls.com. Check it out. All right. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you guys my story with bad menstrual pimps, aka dysmenorrhea. That's what I personally have. Remedies that works for me, my experiences with doctors, etc., and natural remedies that I have actually worked, that have worked for me. All right. Because God knows it's been crazy. Let me just say, sis, I know your pain. I felt your pain. I've lived it. Yeah, I can tell you've been crying. You needing somebody to talk to. All right, let's get back to it. Back to the symptoms. All right, so with dysmenorrhea, pretty much what I was experiencing was nausea, intense back pain, and extreme cramping. Okay, now this is like no other. So when you have dysmenorrhea, pretty much you have very heavy bleeding and your uterus lining is very thin and it's very hard to pass that, and it just gives you these contractions and it's very intense. My experiences started when I was like 20, probably 21, my early 20s, and I started getting really sick. For me, I started getting really sick. I feel like I would need to go to the hospital, and the pattern started around my periods. I'm not a sickly person. I don't need to really be hospitalized and stuff like that. So, at first, I'm like, dang, I just keep getting sick. I didn't even pair two and two together. So then I'm like, okay, damn, it's coming from my period. So it started getting really bad one day. I was at this job. I was working at Family Dollar at that time, and I had like a whole line of customers, and I'm scanning them out, and all of a sudden, like a wave of pain just hit me. So immediately I start feeling like, damn, I need to faint. So I'm lightheaded, I'm like sweaty, I'm clammy and shit, and it's just like crazy. So next thing you know, I'm like hunched over the little cashier area, and the customers are like, let me go get the manager, you know what I mean? So I go get the manager. Everybody that knows me knows like I'm like the biggest germ person ever. I hate germs. I was so sick, man. I'm kneeling on the floor. I'm leaning on the little public toilet, like, because I feel like I have to throw up. I'm lightheaded. I can't stand. And at this time, I was actually like living right up the street. So I could have walked home. I walked to work that day. It was literally like 3 minutes, not even like a 5-minute walk. But I was just that sick. So I'm telling the manager, like, can you get my mom? Call my mom so my mom could come get me. Boom. That's when I know, okay, I need to go to the hospital. I go to the hospital. So now I'm at the hospital, and I'm thinking, okay, like, what's going on? I'm sitting out here in the waiting room, and I hate going to the hospital because, like, especially urgent care, because like you're just waiting and they don't give a fuck about you. So I'm sitting out there and I'm throwing up. Thank God for my cousin. She came, picked me up, took me to the hospital and whatnot. And at first I'm talking to my cousin, and she's like, did you have sex before your period? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And then she's like, well, sometimes sex, like, make you get crazier cramps. But I'm like, yeah, this is more than just like crazy cramps. Like, at this time I have all my symptoms. I'm throwing up for like literally all day long, like almost 24 hours. I'm weak, I'm lightheaded, intense pain and stuff. So boom, I finally go to the hospital. They give me a pap smear, and they tell me that it's possible that I have endometriosis. So now I'm running around like a chicken with her head cut off. So I start looking into this stuff, and I'm not hearing good things about this. Now, it did make me flash back to when I was younger. It was this girl when I was in like 7th, 8th grade. I won't say her name, but she was telling me how she had these cysts like on her ovaries, and she would have really painful periods. But I was young. It wasn't my problem. I didn't experience it, so I didn't know. I'm just thinking she was born with like a problem. I didn't know this was like a common thing, but she would be in such excruciating pain, and she would talk about these cysts and how they was bursting, and she ended up having, endometriosis. So once the doctor is telling me this is a possibility, she pops up in my head. I'm doing all this research and stuff like that, and yeah, so now I'm thinking I have endometriosis. Time is passing by, and I'm looking into ways to fight this, because anybody who knows me knows I don't like medicine, absolutely hate it. So what I did was I then went and I researched some things that I can do to kind of naturally fight this off, you know what I mean, without taking any medicine. So what I did was, when my period was when I noticed my period was starting to come and I was about to start PMSing, because I'm very in tune with my body, what I do is I started changing my diet. So I would cut out meats and nuts, because it's harder for the digestive system to digest, which is also, kind of doing too much when you're in your period. You don't want, your digestive system causing you any too much trouble and stuff, because it can mess with your cramps and stuff. And that's one thing I noticed. So I kind of changed my diet up. I would do a lot of soaking. I noticed at that time, like I said, my cramps was excruciating, but they wasn't like to the level of where they're gonna be at when I tell you where they were at. So along with changing my diet, I would do a lot of water therapy, which is just soaking in extreme hot water. I would use a lot of natural oils, like cinnamon, because that helps with inflammatory, and it helps with blood circulation and things of that nature. And I use peppermint oils and things like that, because it helps with muscle relief. But that just was not enough, okay? Over time, over the years, my periods grew more and more intense. I found myself needing to take off time from work, from activities and just engagements and just a bunch of things. And I used to just pray, like, please let my period fall on the weekend so I can be home and, just take my remedies. Because if I was out somewhere and I had to take like ibuprofen, I would be having to like chew them things like candy. Like, seriously, I would have to pop them, and I'm tiny, you know what I mean? But I would have to pop them just to deal with the pain that I was. So fast forward to this year, and pretty much a few months ago, I started a new doctor's office, because I didn't want to just, I think the older you get, it's important to have a primary doctor. And I mean, I've always had a primary doctor, but when you're a kid and, you know, you know how that go. It's different. You need your own, and you can have one at the hospital, but I chose to personally go to a private practice, just because I felt like they were a little more up close and personal, and I feel like that's lacking in hospitals. So that's what I mean. I don't want to say that I never had primary care, but I wanted to switch it from like urgent, like not urgent, but like hospital, a basic hospital, and going more towards a private practice. And that's what I did. And once I switched to a private practice, of course, like you do with any doctors, they order your blood work and all that thing. So I was explaining with them, certain pains that I did have. The only pains I'm young, I'm healthy, I don't have any like illnesses and stuff, so I don't have like major pains. But my periods were like the root of where my pain was coming from. So I would explain to my doctor about these painful menstrual cycles that I was experiencing. I told them how I've been to the doctors before. They kind of told me I had they did a plat smear and told me I had endometriosis. And when I did this plat smear, it was very impersonal, like, you know what I mean? I had went in through urgent care, and they kind of just was like, you know what I mean? They had me like sitting out in the hallway on the bed, because it was so packed that day at the hospital, and there was so many patients there. And then they kind of just took me to a spare room. They didn't really have a room. They like, yeah, this is a nurse, this is a doctor, gonna do his plat smear and stuff like that. And it was just so uncomfortable, and it was just, yeah, I would go into a video about that another day. So fast forward, I'm talking to my doctor about this experience. So I'm telling my current doctor about this experience, and I'm like, yeah, they did a pap smear on me, and they pretty much was like, you have endometriosis. He was like, there's no way that they can determine that you have something that, serious from a basic pap smear. You know what I mean? And they definitely would have had you follow up and all this other stuff. So now I am feeling a little better because again, that is a lot more serious, and I just didn't want that to be me. I'm in my mid-20s, and I didn't want that to be my experience. So my doctor he orders me a pap smear, and then later I get a ultrasound, a pelvic ultrasound. My pap smear come back healthy, the pelvic ultrasound come back healthy, my ovaries are healthy, everything looks great. Now they're able to get to the root of it, which is the bleeding. The bleeding is very thick, it's very heavy. When I tell y'all, it's almost like a sis can bathe in her blood, okay? Don't imagine that. But it's crazy. It's like a massacre. Excuse me too, I'm just all pronouncing my words. I was saying plat smear earlier and it's pap smear. I'm just all crazy. So yeah, so the root of the problem comes from, again, the blood is so heavy, it's so thick, and the uterus lining is very thin. So it makes this blood very hard to pass, and it causes your womb to do these contractions, and you just have these very intense pain. Okay, so I'm gonna continue the video on my room. But as I was saying, so the contractions give you this intense pain, and you have intense menstrual cycle cramps, okay? But not only that, the pain is so intense, you also have like nausea. So when I was talking to my doctors, like I'm throwing up nonstop, like there's no break from it. It's not like every few hours. It's like for 24 hours, I'm throwing up. And that sounds dramatic, but it's true. The last time I'm gonna tell you about when I was hospitalized, I went to the hospital. They had to give me two bags of where is my language today? 2 bags of fluids. That's how much I was drained. I was just so weak and like discolored and everything. It was crazy. But you get nausea, and then on top of that, the back pain. It feels like you're giving labor to somebody's child. Like I was literally almost like a hunchback. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so with all this pain, I'm speaking to my doctor. He's pretty much telling me that the pain and the nausea and the back pain is just like reactions and symptoms of the tense period cramps. So they recommend that I get on birth control because this last probably like 2 periods ago was very bad for me. Usually it's just painful around like the first 2 days, and then it's kind of like I can be more manageable. This pain lasted for 4 days. I was like bedridden. I was sick. Nothing worked. None of my natural remedies. Medicine didn't work because I was throwing up so much it couldn't stay in. It's even long enough to even last to do what it's supposed to do. Like it was crazy. I couldn't eat anything. I couldn't keep water down. Like it was crazy. I wasn't eating. I wasn't drinking. I was sick. I was pretty much discolored. And I figured I hate medicine, but I have my own theories about that. I'll talk about that. So yeah, I hate medicine. I have my own theory about that. My mom called them conspiracy theories, but I just researched a lot of things in my times, and I'll go into that another day. But I had to do something. So I met with a doctor, and they were telling me, I met with my doctor, they was pretty much telling me the next thing that was left that can save me and my womb and my soul was pretty much to get on birth control. I hate birth control. I hate birth control. Now, when I was younger, I took birth control. I used to be a cheerleader, and I started it normally because, again, I didn't want to get my period. I bled heavily, and I didn't want to be, cheerleading and getting tossed in the air bleeding. So normally that's why I got on it. Once I did my research about birth control, I immediately got off of it as I got, like once I graduated high school, or like in my junior year, it might have been, you know what I mean, or my senior year. So, now that I've been off of it for a while, the doctor's telling me like, okay, this is the best things that's gonna happen. It's gonna stop your period. But me personally, I feel periods are very, very spiritual. That's another conversation. We'll talk about that too another day. And I didn't want something that was gonna stop my period, but I wanted something that was gonna make my period more culpable. Something that I can deal with. So they recommended birth control. I said, all right, fuck, I don't want it. Give me the lowest dose possible and something where I still can bleed with. That's going to sound crazy being that I originally took birth control to stop bleeding. because I had a heavy flow. But so I wasn't satisfied with that. But the birth control pretty much releases a hormone that helps with the contractions, with the hormones needed to strengthen your uterus lining so that you can take those heavy contracting. Take the heavy contracting, from the heavy bleeding. I mean, sorry, take the contracting from the heavy bleeding. Sorry, I'm rushing through this. It's getting later. I'm tired. It's been a very long day. Okay. I work 2 jobs and I just help coach some basketball. So I'm ready to cuddle up with my babe. Anyways, so the doctors was telling me, the birth control. I realized that the birth control, they recommended it because it released a hormone that was going to help with the cramps. I settled. I did birth control for 1 month and it did help. But my soul does not like the medicine. It's not natural. I have my own reasons. Again, I'll do a video for that. So I just say, you know what, let me look into something further. I came across this girl who pretty much had the same experiences I did. She was young. And now that my eyes is open to this, is such a common thing. So many, like 3 or 2 out of 5 women have it or something like that. It's very, very common. So I did my research and I realized, so me being the natural queen that I am, and always looking for a natural remedy. That's the Native American in me, baby. The African. Anyways, me always looking for a natural little remedy. I came across this girl who pretty much had the same things that I was going through. Like, she literally, I felt like she was in my body and in my skin, and her womb was my womb. She literally, like, told my life. Like, I felt like Lauryn Hill, Killing Me Softly. She knew my life, my experience. Fast forward, let me just give it to you. Ginger and calcium. When you take those combined together, and I actually have my vitamins right here. When you take them together, pretty much what they do is they release a hormone, the same exact hormones that the birth control does, and it strengthens that wall and that lining, that uterus lining in your wall, your vagina walls, and pretty much allows you to be. So it strengthens the uterus lining in your walls, pretty much. And it's going to be this, ginger. Now, you can do any form. The girl, she just had ginger. Mine say ginger root, and there are differences. They only had ginger root left, and this worked a miracle. And this was the calcium that I took. And this is the same one, I believe, that the video from the girl that I saw when she was informing me about it, that's what she had. Pretty much that combination releases the same exact hormones that birth control does, and it'll help cure that. Now, I am giving you guys this remedy. I didn't want to give it to you or make a video until I tried it out for myself. I used it for this period. I am on my last day of my period, or the second to last day of my period, somewhere around there. And this has worked tremendous. My period has been so crazy lately that even when I'm PMSing, it was to the point that even when I was PMSing, I knew my period was coming. For one, I'm very in tune with my body. I know with like moon cycle that I bleed with and things of that nature. So I know when my body is transitioned. I can feel it. So I know when my period was coming. But it was even like more recognizable because like my PMSing would be so intense. I would be feeling like I'm on my period, and this once I had my period this time around, my PMSing was very, very light. When I was on my actual period, I only took medicine the first day because I actually just shot in my very first video for a friend. Shout out to her, Jeanette. So I shot in a video for her, and I was so worried that my period came on because this was the first time I was trying this remedy. I didn't want to get there and be sick. And this was something I had like agreed to months ago, so I didn't want to get there and have to cancel or be sick. And I know how bad it was. So like I said, my period before last was, it was deadly, and I had to go to the hospital. I was sick for 4 days, nonstop back pain, pretty much bedridden, nauseous, throwing my soul up, okay, throwing my organs up, and it was crazy, tense pain. So I didn't want to get there and have to experience any of this and have to ruin her day. So I took medicine, but honestly, it really wasn't that needed. The cramps that I did have was very manageable. It was very mild. I wasn't able to this week I pretty much worked I had work when I was on my period. I usually get lucky and it kind of falls like on a weekend, but oh my God. Other than that, I didn't really have to take medication. So when I was home, I didn't really have to medicate. I can be like on a heating pad or take a hot bath. And the mild cramps that I did had, it would knock it right out. I'm telling you, this is like the best thing that ever happened to me was this combination, seriously, because it's natural. It does exactly what the medicines that the doctors recommend, and the doctors are going to always try to tell you not to use herbal supplements, or they're going to try to scare you away, because at the end of the day, doctors make money from you being sick, you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. But everything on this earth, there's something on this earth to cure everything for us, but that's another conversation for another day. I say that a lot if you haven't noticed because I have a lot of conversations. But so yeah, guys, that really works for me. It saves my life. You guys should try it along with oils, cinnamon oils, peppermint oils. If you're home, natural therapy, hot baths, heating pack. If you don't have a heating pack, you can make your own. Get you a glass mason jar, fill it up with some hot water, and I'm telling you, it's a lifesaver. When I would have to go somewhere, like this one job I worked at, and it was like a call center, and we wasn't able to bring any um like you wasn't even able to bring tissue back there because you can't have paper, you can't have anything, but you can bring like a clear glass jar, like a clear little baggie. So I would bring the little mason jars, and oh my God, it saved my life when I had work and I had to still function. But this combination works great. I didn't have to really take medication. I mean, like as far as ibuprofen or anything prescribed other than these supplements, I didn't have to take any medication, which is great because I hate taking medicine. Like truly, I do. It's not natural. Some medications I think are necessary, but I'm more into a natural person. That's just me. I don't knock anybody who take their medicine. So what I did exactly was I noticed that lately I've been bleeding with the new moon. So around the full moon, I started taking these. I started adding these into my diet because you know you don't want to have too much calcium in your body. But about 10 to 14 days before your period is due, that's when I would add these to your diet. So again, I bleed around the new moon. I started these around the full moon. Also, really quick, I'm not gonna go into it. I'll do another video another day. I promise. But pay attention to when you bleed, what moon cycle you bleed with. It tells you a lot about yourself. And again, that's what also was saying, you know, your period is very spiritual. And that's why I wanted to still have my period. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much my story. That's just gonna wrap everything up. To recap. And if you aren't already, follow me on my social media. My IG is at Naya Kane. That's Naiy. Follow me on social media. My IG is going to be at Naya Kane. That's going to be NAIYAKNAI. That is going to be my main Instagram. Sorry, my main Instagram. My more personal Instagram is going to be at exclusively Kane. My Facebook is going to be at Naya Kane, and my Snapchat is at exclusively Nay. All right, so check me out. I hope I didn't say any of those handles wrong. If I did, I'll correct them. I'll add like a text in there and correct them. So ladies, please get that checked out. Try this out. If you haven't already, first see a doctor before anything. Make sure that you know what you have. Again, I had dysmenorrhea. It wasn't endometriosis, but it is very similar. It's like it's like, you know what I mean? I don't want to say stages before that because I don't speak that upon myself, but it is very similar. So check this out, see what you have. I know a lot of women are experiencing these things. So many girls I notice have been having these crazy menstruals. Please go get checked out. If you need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 100 opinions. If you need to, don't just settle for one. Again, I've been to the hospital. I kind of skimmed over those because I was rushing, but I've been to the hospital a few times and saw a few doctors before I was actually diagnosed with dysmenorrhea. And I did that again, so once switching to a private practice, and they actually taking time to notice me in run exams and do in order the things that I needed to know what was wrong with me. And once I seen that everything in me was internally healthy, what was the next root of the problem? All right, so again, that remedy is going to be ginger and calcium combined together. I take that twice a day, once in the morning. Each pill once in the morning and once before I go to sleep. I always eat with it. And you can also try the water therapy, the heating packs, the oil, cinnamon, and peppermint, and that also helps, as well as herbs that are made and help with nausea, and that helps with pains and muscle relief. There's tons of them. I'll try and add some down in the video description below that you can add to like your cooking or even to your teas if you make your own teas, and that stuff could help too. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up. Thank you for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please and thank you. And again, follow me on my social media handles. Please try this remedy, girls. It saved my life. I hope it saved yours. Again, I came across this knowledge on YouTube and I experimented for myself. I loved it. I hope it works miracles for you. Me and my room is living my best life. I hope I saved another room.